JJ, I think it was 65 points in the first half and then 44 until, the final minute or two when Wells was hitting those shots. So where did the defense get better, and what was the halftime message?
We asked the guys at halftime, was there anything they were doing that we needed to make adjustments on? And they said, absolutely not. I mean, it was some of it was, again, that early offense. I think sometimes when a star is out and a guy who has the ball a lot, it certainly gives guys opportunities. It gives guys, they're more aggressive, but I also think the way a team plays can change. And I thought we picked up the cadence of that. They were running basically a loop into a side pick and roll or a step up into swing angle. Like, it was just the same stuff over and over again. So I think eventually, we just picked up on the cadence and the pattern of it. More physical. DA in the second half defensively was awesome, and really in that fourth quarter had some big time plays at the rim for us. Just communication was better. It was just all around, just, sometimes it's not, hey, can we guard this action, or hey, how do we guard this one player? Sometimes it's just a collective effort and a collective spirit to get back and guard.
You've spoken about LeBron and Luka in that two-man game. And what specifically were you getting out of that, and how often was that set up versus them just kind of working together in the fourth, especially?
Yeah, I mean, that's just our 88. I mean, it was great for us down the stretch the other night. We had called an ATO and told them, the next time down, run 88, and then we set up a couple of variations out of it. Bron had come to me earlier in the game. He did a really good job of just making passes out of that. Jackson had a big dunk on Friday night, so Sunday? Yeah, Friday night. So he felt really comfortable as like a passer out of that. So we ran a couple of different variations out of timeouts, but it just was a good action. And one of the things I challenged the guys on before the game was our execution overall and our ATO execution. It was better tonight. I thought down the stretch it was really good. Only one F up on an ATO, so that'd be a silly fine right there. But other than that, it was good.
You've told us that part of the reason why Jake's acquitted himself so well to this team is that the coaching staff asked him to do stuff and he goes out and does it. I doubt you asked him to score 20-plus points per game, but he's given it to you over the last few games against Memphis. How does that scoring punch help with all these bodies you have out right now?
Yeah, I told him in front of the group after the game, I think particularly in that first half, his aggressiveness and confidence was really good for us. The thing that we've tried to really instill and coach him on all season is 0.5 decision making, being catch and shoot ready. If you are attacking a closeout and you have an advantage, maintain the advantage, and both of those things require confidence and requires aggressiveness. So just a fantastic game from him. Another good game from him defensively as well, with deflections and being disruptive.
You mentioned the ATOs, but just generally speaking tonight, how did it feel like your group handled the simple things by and large?
Much better. There was, you can probably point to a handful of plays where it wasn't great, but I thought the intent overall was at the very least a A-. It was good for execution.
JJ, you talked yesterday about wanting to make sure you got more touches to Deandre, especially early. Just how do you feel like you guys did in that, and what did you think of Deandre's kind of overall engagement and energy throughout the game?
He was great throughout the game, and we ran the first play for him, got him another couple touches early. I think that was good for him to just touch the basketball and feel like he's a part of the offense. It's a tale as old as time for a big guy. That's the reality of being a big. Someone has to pass you the ball. You're not initiating the offense. And, there were some things, that we kind of set up for him to get the ball. And I thought he did a great job, which we coached up yesterday in film and we coached on the court in reference to that post up with LeBron and Jackson. That's the weak spot against the post, and he did a good job of playing out of that at times, beyond just pick and roll.
JJ, kind of to that point, I think even DeAndre's acknowledged he's a different kind of big as opposed to, you have your star bigs who have the possession of the ball mostly, and then you have your athletic bigs who are rim runners, finishers.
Yeah.
Is that just something that is going to have to continue to be a reminder of, let's keep DA involved, even if it's early, just to make sure that presence is still there?
Yeah.
On the interior book?
Yeah, I mean, he's a highly skilled big. I mean, that there's not many of those left in today's NBA, just in terms of touch and shooting from the areas that he likes to get the ball. And yeah, it's on us as coaches, and it's on players to make sure that he feels involved.
JJ, you mentioned a little bit ago that your team is undefeated when they hit 30 assists. Like, what did you like about not just getting to that number, but with the low turnovers that went along with getting to that number? Yeah.
It's a big time step just in terms of taking care of the ball. We had 26 potential assists in the first half, only converted on 12 of those. It was one of the things I brought up, just continuing to trust each other. Look, we haven't been a very good shooting team, and there's probably a great deal of those potential assists that were kick out, catch and shoot threes. I thought our guys just continued to trust the pass.
Coach, you mentioned before that LaRavia was like the first call, during the free agency period. Is this kind of what you envisioned as what he could be, or do you feel like he's kind of even gone past what your expectations were of him?
You're not going to count on him like scoring 26 a night. He's had a number of scoring games for us. We knew that he was, by the metrics, a disruptive defender, something that we were really searching for because we were bottom third in the league last year in block steals and deflections. He's probably better defensively. Yeah, he is better defensively. He's been one of our most consistent guys, if not our most consistent guy on that end of the floor. But I think the thing that stands out with him is, I was talking with a close friend of mine the other day about Jake, and I was just telling him, like, he's one of the guys that his care factor is high all the time. Those are the guys that are really, really fun to coach.
Jake, how much is your confidence growing more and more as you continue to star in your role?
I think I'm just trusting the work that I've been putting in recently. Obviously, shot was struggling early on, and coaches telling me, players telling me, just keep shooting the ball. They trust me. I trust myself. So it's really just about going into the game and then doing it.
Jake, Coach JJ Redick talked about just how your development in such a short period of time is, he's giving you high praise on how you've just kind of reacted to the moment. What do you think has kind of been the impetus for your reaction to, having the opportunity to start?
Yeah, I just feel like I'm very much a player where when you tell me the things that you want me to do, I'm going to just go out there and do them. So, I've had plenty of conversations with JJ. With my coach Bo, and they tell me what they want me to do out there, and I kind of just go out there and I try my best to do that every game. Shots aren't going to fall every game, but I can control the effort that I bring to the game, crashing every time. They talk about offensive crash rate. I'm just trying to do that every night and just bring in energy to this team.
Jake, I know obviously you're always trying to do whatever you have to do and be a star in your role and win every game, but is it even just a little bit sweeter that a couple of your best games came against the team you used to play for?
I had my game against them when I was with Sacramento after they traded me. It's fun to play against the guys that I know, but there's nothing outside of just the fact that it's a regular game.
Jake, what makes you such a really good defender? What are you trying to do out there?
I don't know. I play hard. I play really hard. I try and understand the tendencies of the players that I'm guarding. Like, I'm not the most laterally quick player, not the most athletic, but I can understand what players like to do and what their tendencies are, and then I can kind of play off of that. And then I am really good at, just getting deflections and playing with my hands.
Hey, Jake, you took 10 threes tonight, which is your season high. How much comfortable do you feel finding your shots within the offense now versus when the season started?
Yeah, I mean, very comfortable. I mean, I thought I probably could have maybe shot even two or three more tonight that I might have passed up, but kind of just new stepping stones each game, growing in the way that I'm playing offensively, obviously with AR out. Just, this is one of those hats that I was talking about where I am able to do this. So it's been good.
Jake, from your time in Memphis and here with the Lakers now, what would you say you've improved the most on?
Decision making on both sides of the ball, I'd say, and then I think my defense has gotten better every year that I've been in the league. But yeah, on the offensive side, probably decision making, then just overall defense.
Jake, JJ's talked before about, matching other teams' physicality, especially from the jump. How do you feel, you guys kind of responded to that tonight, and how do you kind of fit into that equation there?
Yeah, I think this was another game where we really picked it up down in the clutch time. Intensity, effort, physicality, all those things. We really, took it to another level in that last however many minutes it was. And my role when I'm out there is to try and do that, the whole time I'm out there. But, when it's time to really lock in, kind of just to be that energy guy, and hopefully, the team can feed off me.
A second straight wide receiver type catch this time. Was that Deandre that threw this one? He had little QB skills too?
Yeah. I mean, he got me for a lob early in the season, not too many games ago, and then another one there. So it's my job to go up and get it, and I was taught to get it at its highest peak, so when I got it.
You've seen this pattern in the NBA so many times where the other team's kind of star player or player that has the ball a lot, and there can be an adjustment early. It seems like you guys started to figure out a little bit better in the second half. Or what did you see as you improved overall as a team?
Yeah, I mean, they played exceptional basketball in the first half, and we knew we was going to get their best shot, especially after the kind of the playoff type of format. Team always make the adjustments coming to the next game, better prepared. So I think it's just in the second half we started to crack the code a little bit. Was able to get the lead down in the third. They kind of broke away a little bit again, but we just kept after it and was able to have a great fourth quarter.
It's been a next man up type of season for you guys because of cascading injuries. I don't think Jake's kind of profile as a player was a 25-point per game scorer, but his last two games certainly the scoring punch helped you. How's he been a benefit to the team, especially because you guys were kind of going through a doldrums at the end of December?
We need his ability to, score out bunches at times. Obviously, with AR and Rui, Gabe out. Obviously, that's a lot of points, especially from AR and Rui. So, to have that, that step up, from Jake has been. We've needed it, obviously, and he's just playing with a lot of confidence, and we need him to continue that.
You guys, JJ told us pregame that you guys have simplified the playbook a little bit, specifically the offense with all the injuries and different things like that. Just in a general sense, how good has this team been at the quote-unquote simple things?
Well, I mean, in order to win and at the highest level, you have to be able to do the simple things. You have to be able to execute after timeouts, dead balls. You have to execute coming out of the locker room. You have to have a game plan to execute that. So you can't execute the big things if you don't execute the small things, and play winning basketball from that standpoint. So we've been able to do that lately.
Did you see? I'm sorry. Did you see a more intent and focus on that in these last two games? When we don't turn the ball over, we can be pretty good. So we've done a good job of not turning the ball over as much.
You mentioned after your first game back this season that having to miss the beginning of the season for the first time in combination with just that awareness of that time was kind of dwindling for you, made you a lot more present and in the moment. Yeah. Has that carried through the rest of the season for you, and how has that manifested for you in moments like, for example, the fourth quarter tonight where you're in kind of a flow state? Yeah,
I mean, just appreciating every moment, obviously, and just excited about what the next moment has, if it's during the game or if it's tomorrow or whatever the case may be. So just for me, like I said, it was the first time I've ever not been ready for the start of the season. I missed the whole preseason, whole training camp, missed the first 14, whatever, 15, whatever games it was. So behind the 8 ball, and I couldn't really train like I'm accustomed to training in the summertime. So I was behind the 8 ball, but just being able to appreciate it and getting another opportunity to be able to get my body where it needs to be to go out and perform with these guys, perform against the opposition. But also knowing that, like I said, my time is definitely I'm on the other side of the hill than the first part of the hill. So, just appreciating it all.
You mentioned a couple or a few games ago that you're not on the ball as much as you were at previous points in your career, but despite that, you're still getting to the free throw line at a high level. I think your highest free throw rate since your first year as a Laker. What's helping you do that, even though your usage may look different than how it used to?
I don't know, just being a complete basketball player. I have to be able to, change the landscape of how I play up according to how our team wants to play. So, I've been playing off the ball, obviously, pretty much the majority of the season. So, picking spots and figuring out ways how I can still be productive to help us, play winning basketball when I'm on the floor, both offensively and defensively. So, I don't know. I don't have any holes in my game, so it helps to be able to do whatever the team needs at that particular moment.
Ayton, the game was kind of back and forth there, and in the fourth, you made some really key plays on both sides of the ball. Can you just talk about kind of what happened in that fourth quarter run that kind of turned the game from a loss to a win?
Really the effort plays. Just making effort plays down the stretch. Brian and Luka, just really leading the way and just talking on both ends of the floor. Jake being aggressive on both ends of the floor. Just really got the team going in the bench. Just not having the seat and just, really cheering for the guys on the floor.
Deandre, you've talked this season a lot about being, the defensive anchor back there in the paint. When you got guys like Marcus and Jake, who are getting their hands in the passing lanes, stuff like that, how does that kind of make your job a little easier defensively?
Before those passes and, before they get those steals in the lane, they talking and communicating from the get-go. Just loud early talk, just making us comfortable, especially when I'm in the pick and roll and I can't see what's going on behind me. Having Vando out there, just totally boxing my dude out and him just, scooping up those offensive boards or closing out defensive possessions and, just him being, just an effort guy. Him and Marcus, having those guys, make second efforts, it's contagious, and it's black and white, to where the team needs it, and that's how we get our offense going.
After the Houston game, JJ said there was dialogue between coaches and players, and it was about not only communicating what the coaches want, but what the players need and want to. And kind of in that same spirit, he told us going into this one, we need to get DA more touches. I think you scored on the first possession. Not long after that, you scored. You had a seal where you dunked on Jaren Jackson Jr. How much did you feel recognized by that adjustment in game plan, and did that help your overall night tonight?
How did it feel personally?
Yeah.
What are you asking?
Yeah. How did that approach or change in the approach to the game plan help your overall effort tonight?
I mean, we're running the right way. Bigs can't feed themselves, and I just try my best to do what I can, to bring effort, and I trust my playmakers out there to find me.
Deandre, JJ pointed to your defense in the second half specifically. Anything that you saw the way Memphis was playing, or that you kind of figured out pattern-wise that helped there?
They try to get a little physical down the stretch and play about like 3 bigs. Made us do a lot of like size switching. Made us go 1 through 5, and it brought us into a playoff environment where everybody had to really guard their own yard and close out these possessions because how big and lengthy they were on the court, and just getting the rebound and getting on the break because they were crashing, so we had the advantage on offense in transition.